Welcome to Italics, television for the Italian American experience. I'm your host, Anthony Tamburri. For this month's episode, we visited the 43rd Annual Gala of NIAF, the National Italian American Foundation. Taking place the weekend of October 12 and 13, NIAF hosted more than 2,000 Italian Americans and special guests from Italy in a weekend-long celebration of Italian American heritage and culture. While there, Italics interviewed NIAF's new president, Lawrence Purpuro, who began his tenure this past summer. We met up with Lawrence at the hotel. Italics also had the opportunity to sit down with Lidia Bastianich. We met up with her before she signed a few hundred books for those present. Here we are at the 43rd Annual NIAF Gala, and you've been with NIAF for a very long time.
It is amazing to me to be here as chair. I came here as a college student, and I looked at that room and said, oh my gosh, the power, the influence, the incredible contributions that Italian Americans have made to this country. One day I hope to aspire to sit on the dais, to be a participant in this great organization.
It's an honor for me to be here tonight. I have to say thank you to all the board of NIAF that give me these awards, because for me it's unbelievable. I'm from Naples. The factory is a family business. We are 5 cousins that we run the company, and the founder is my uncle, Ciro Paone, and I dedicate these awards to him because for sure he's the person that make everything happen.
This year's Region of Honor was Puglia, and Michele Emiliano, the president of the region, was present. NIAF also honored 6 people this year, some of whom hail from Puglia. They include Giovanni Caforio, chairman and CEO of Bristol Myers Squibb; Vincenzo Boccia, president of Confindustria; Carl Schramm, American economist and entrepreneur; Antonio De Matteis, CEO of Keaton; Vito Pertosa, founder of the Angel Group; and a friend of the Calandra Institute as well, Lidia Bastianich, Emmy Award-winning television host, best-selling cookbook author, and restaurateur.
Pizzicata la tarantella, su tallo giro giro di lagunella. Adone pizzicato la tarantone, su tallo giro giro di Lugarzone. E ponta 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 con chi la cima, con chi la ponta, con chi la cima, con chi la ponta, tutte quante sono. E ponta 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 con chi la cima, con chi la ponta, con chi la cima, con chi la ponta, tutte quante sono.
Welcome to Italics.
Well, thank you very much.
And congratulations on your new appointment.
I've only been on the job for 34 days, but every day has been a great experience, and the staff is exceptional. Incredibly passionate people, incredibly skilled people.
As far as the local politics are concerned, you've been in this town, you know this town very well, and so you know how to move around, quote unquote.
Well, I am familiar with the dynamics of the association market. I was in politics for a period of time on Capitol Hill. I've not had direct experience in terms of the management of a nonprofit or foundation, but I have been involved in trying to get the maximum amount of resources out of a relatively small staff, and I have been in the business of trying to raise money and develop a donor base. So that's equally interesting to me. I actually think fundraising is a really critical part, not just because of the resources that it provides, but it forces an institution, an organization, to really think hard about its mission and its programs. There's a lot of generous people out there. It seems to me Italian Americans are so incredibly prideful of their heritage in ways that is immeasurable, that if we can show them that we have something that's viable, that's enduring, that has meaning, I think the support would be limitless.
There were a couple of national organizations, NIAF being one of them, that has given money for various projects, whether they're disasters that have taken place in Italy, especially earthquakes, or the scholarships that it gives, the support to students, to college students. This year is the 4th or 5th year that I think there are 25 to 30 college students that are here from across the country. The idea of getting those young students together, I think, is really wonderful.
It's probably one of the most inspiring sessions we've had, and we just need to give them the support, the tools, and the platform. There is absolutely no reason that NIAF's on-campus program shouldn't be in at least 100 universities or schools in the next couple of years.
Any ideas, I mean, besides what we've just spoken about?
Well, I think there's two big initiatives that we need to undertake. One is with people over the age of 60 who are in the process of doing their estate planning, who are in the process of being concerned about where their grandchildren and great-grandchildren go with respect to their Italian heritage. We need to provide them with some program and some outlets and some opportunity to invest in future generations. At the same time, the NIAF on-campus program is critical. And even more critical than that, or equally, is this Voyage of Discovery program. There isn't an Italian American I don't speak to. Frankly, there isn't a person I don't speak to who doesn't remember vividly and with great joy their first trip to Italy. The foundation takes about 25 to 30 students each year on a 2-week trip. They have to be first-time visitors to Italy, and in conjunction with the region of honor that we pick each year, they go to that region. It's a transformational experience. We have to get partners to understand that the most critical thing for us is to get young people over to Italy. And the reason is they become self-appointed ambassadors, and it's a genuine feeling. And so I think we need to show donors ways creatively that we can bring more and more kids over there. My goal is no less than 250 kids a year should be going.
250?
Oh, absolutely.
What are your roots, your Italian roots?
Well, I don't want to bore you, but I can tell you my birth parents were from Campania.
Okay.
And my real name, actually, my birth name is Benevento. I was a late adoption case in the state of New Jersey, and the people who truly raised me, their name was Purpuro. And so I took that at age 14.
Ah, okay.
And so I don't know what their origins are,
okay,
but they were Italian.
Thank you. Thanks for taking time.
Thank you, Anthony.
Okay. We're here with Lidia Bastianich, who has just published her 16th, I think it is, book. And this one's a little bit different from the others because it's much more of an autobiography as opposed to a book about food, et cetera, the culture, in which there are some personal things, but nothing like this book. Welcome to Italics, Lidia.
Thanks, Anthony. My pleasure.
You came here just before your teens, so you were this young Italian, Croatian, Istriana. Here you are. Now you're Lidia Bastianich. You're no longer that little girl who was Lidia Juliana.
Lidia Juliana Maticchio Bastianich.
How does it look from this perspective, looking back a few decades ago?
It's extraordinary. My life has really been a gift. And when I look back at it, sometimes I wonder, did it really happen? And Anthony, as you know, I come from an area that's been worn, torn, and back and forth, and the borders went down, and you couldn't be Italian, you couldn't be Croatian, you couldn't be anything. Istria is the little peninsula, and now it is Croatia. But World War II, 1944, everything was at a standstill in that area because Italy lost the war, and now how will they divide it? The United Nations, the Allied forces, were there keeping peace until 1947. The Paris Treaty, actually, in February 1947, decided that the border would go down just outside of Trieste, and Istria and Dalmatia would go to the newly formed communist Yugoslavia. Now, I was just born in 1947, February, few days before the actual Paris Treaty went into effect. So, my parents, where are they going to go? They stayed put, and the border went up, and we remained behind the Iron Curtain. And that became, a problem, a different change. Once, the communist dogma set in, that was it. We couldn't speak Italian, we couldn't go to church. There were many no's as ethnicity. And my mother was an elementary school teacher. My father was a mechanic, and he had 2 little trucks. They took his trucks, they deemed him a capitalist, they had him jailed, so life was difficult. And my parents decided in 1956, finally, to go back to Italy. But at that point, as you said, they didn't give the visa to the whole family. So my mother, my brother, and I went to visit an aunt that we had on the other side of the border, because Trieste, the border went down, part of the family was here, part of the family was here. And we thought, she was not feeling well, that's what my mom said. We got there, she looked fine to me. But soon enough, 2 weeks later, my father literally escaped the border, ran, they shot at him, the dogs were after him, and he joined us in Trieste. And then we were reunited as a family. But now, where do we go? We were Ippoliti, without a country, because we refused one. And, in the aftermath of the war, before you can get any papers done, was difficult. And so we ended up in a political refugee camp, San Saba. San Saba is now a museum. As you know, San Saba was also a German concentration camp at some point, but we stayed there for 2 years trying to get our papers together. At that point, my parents decided that maybe it would be best to migrate, because Italy in the aftermath of the war was hard to live in anyway. And in 1958, Dwight Eisenhower was the president. He opened the opportunity for people fleeing communism to come to the United States. Well, Yugoslavia was led by Marshal Tito. He was the premier leader there, and he lasted quite long. No longer after his demise, the country split up, and now it's Croatia and so on.
Croatia, Serbia, Montenegro.
We came to LaGuardia Airport, and they came with these big yellow buses. Now I know they're school buses, but that's how they came to pick us up. And they took us to a hotel in Manhattan, the Wolcott Hotel, I remember. And, they put us in a room for us. That was a feast because, first of all, communism, then the camp. And in the camp, we lived in little cubicles of a whole floor,
Spartan.
Very Spartan, online for food and so on.
Yeah.
And so for us, this was, coming in the middle of New York and all this in a hotel. It was extraordinary. We began to deal with the social services, the Catholic Relief Services. And after about 4 weeks, they found a job for my father in New Jersey and a little home for us. And once we got to New Jersey, the Italian community really got into action. They came to visit, these new immigrants. They brought us food, they brought us chairs, they brought us towels, they brought us everything. And ultimately found a job for my mother. Now, my mother, being a teacher, ended up being a seamstress because she couldn't, of course. But it was great. Our life as Americans began. It was kind of difficult not speaking the language, but you know what? At that age, you're so resilient. I remember that I wanted to become American. I wanted to be part of this America so much, learning English, and within 1 year, my brother and I were into the English speaking.
When did the idea of cooking, a restaurant, when did that all happen?
My passion for food came very early on, and that is when we were under the communism. My mother put my brother and myself, took us out of the city. Pola was the little city, because she was being washed, of course, and put us with Grandma in the suburbs, in a little town, small town. And Grandma was providing food for the whole family, not just for us, because food was scarce. So she had chicken, she had ducks, she had goats. I remember milking the goats. We had pigs. Every November, the slaughter, the prosciutto, the salsicce. Grandpa made the wine. Grandpa made olive oil. And for me, as a child, that was an idyllic situation. You know, I really got into food, harvesting food, even collecting the potatoes out of the ground, you know. Once we were in Italy, in Campo San Saba, and I knew that we would not return, then it's sort of something, you know, kind of a panic. I didn't say goodbye to Grandma, I didn't say goodbye to my friends, to my goats, and I think that at that time, something awakened in me as far as food. Food became my connector. I remember loving to cook. I remember, you know, looking for those aromas and flavors that Grandma would give, and it gave me the comfort of being closer to her, with her. And from then on, food always became my communicator. You know, I communicated best, and I felt best with food.
And your first restaurant?
My first restaurant was 1971 in Forest Hills. I met my husband, and he was in the restaurant business, and he had wanted to open a restaurant. And I said, well, I'll help you, and opened a 9-table restaurants in Forest Hills. And I soon realized that this is what I wanted to do, that I needed to learn. So we had hired an Italian-American chef, and I went in the kitchen with him, and for 9 years I was his sous chef, and hence really understood the ropes of running a commercial kitchen. And then I realized how much I didn't know. And we would go, when we settled a little bit, back to Italy every summer for vacation, I would go and research, because, you know, I was young. Yes, I knew Friuli Venezia Giulia, I knew Istria, I knew the Veneto, but I didn't know the rest of Italy. And so every time we went on vacation, visited family, and the rest up and down in Italy. I worked with the Italian chefs in the restaurants. I went back to school. I went to Queens College, anthropology of food, the science of food. This is back in the 75, 76. I would do that working, and then I would take a morning class or whatever. And so I really realized how much I didn't know and how much I wanted to know.
Now, you and your son have a number of restaurants, and your daughter's involved, of course, and also Italy USA is synonymous with Lidia Bastianich.
It wasn't something that I had planned, but I took the opportunities as they came along. That small restaurant, then we had another one. They were big. We sold those. We opened for Lidia on 58th Street in the big town. I became the chef by then. It was 10 years, so I really had picked up my skills. And I became a chef, but my philosophy was to cook regional Italian food. You know, that's what people eat in Italy. And that's when the press began to be curious. What is this woman, Italian women chef cooking? So much so that, you know, certainly journalists and whatever. But Julia Child and James Beard came. And Julia, you know, was curious about my risotto. She wanted to learn how to make risotto. And so we did. We became friends. She came over the house. We did the lessons of risotto. But we really got into getting to know each other, and she ultimately asked me to be on her show, the MasterChef series.
Please turn around and welcome best-selling cookbook author and restaurateur, Mama.
Oh my God! We did 2 episodes, and then the producer says, Lidia, you know, you're pretty good. How about a show of your own? And so one thing led to the other. So, Grandma, you're always full of sayings or proverbi.
I can tell you a line of them if you want. Un proverbio dice, il frutto non cade lontano dall'albero.
Ah, okay, so the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree.
Or they say,
tal madre, tal figlia?
You look a little bit like me, too.
I'm good looking like you?
You better do. Chi va con l'asino impara a ragliare.
So, he who goes with the donkey learns how to ragliare.
Io, questo è ragliare.
There you go.
Yeah.
Even my first book, Anthony,
Yeah.
there was a great food writer, J. Jacobs.
Yes.
He wrote for Gourmet. And he did a great review on for Lidia. And of course, in doing that, he interviewed me and talked to me. He would come around. He was very much interested into this border cuisine, cooking with sauerkraut, the polenta, strudel, that's Austria-Hungarian, Slavic, it's all up there. And he said, Lidia, you should write a cookbook. That was 1990. And I said, but I'm not a writer. So he said, let's do it together. And we did. So that's how I got into cookbooks. I enjoy teaching. Maybe it's because of my mother's. I enjoy sharing because a lot of people have shared with me, have mentored me, have given me that opportunity. And so I guess now, through books and through television, I love the fact that I can give back.
During that time, there were a series of high-end restaurants owned by men. And it was a little bit nouveau Italian, right? And here you were, basically the only woman, I think.
I was holding court to the tradition of the Italians.
Yeah.
But you know why, Anthony? Because I felt that was my mission, if you will. Born Italian, accepted by American, and here I had two fantastic cultures on my side. So how was going to unite them? I wanted to unite them. I wanted to bring my Italian flavors, food genius, if you will, of the Italians to my Americans. And what I found out, that the Americans love Italian food. They love everything Italian. And so they appreciate it. And I decided, that it was not up to me to invent. And I haven't invented any recipes. But I felt as a conduit, and I still do. And so therefore, I need to go back. I need to research. What I find, then I bring back. Do I modify? There's always a little something of modification. But I feel very committed and respectful of the Italian traditions.
And you also now have a wine line, am I correct?
Well, again, Antonio, about 20 years ago, because even with the kids, we would go back. And so the feeling of Italy was instilled in them, too. Until ultimately, I said, well, we would go back, and now it was Croatia, Grandma's house, but we wanted something in Italy. And we went up to Friuli Venezia Giulia, and we found this wonderful home, and it was a little vineyard. And my son Joseph, as he's grown up, loved wine, and made it his little challenge, if you will. When he told me, he says, the vine was there, the vines were there, the winery was there, but it was small. And he says, we're going to make some wine. I'm so excited. And I says, and then he bought a little bit more of the terrain. And I says, what are you going to do with this wine? He says, Ma, don't worry about it. We'll sell it in our restaurants. And now it's well beyond our restaurants.
Yeah. Movies about food. Big Night with Stanley Tucci, right? And Campbell Scott. Yeah.
That movie, Big Night, I kind of was almost on the two sides, which was the Italian-American and then the authentic Italian restaurant. So I was kind of really between.
Sure. Is this what I ordered? Yes. Well, it's not what I expected. But I get a side order of spaghetti with this, right?
Why? Well, no.
I thought all main courses come with spaghetti.
Well, some, yes, but you see, risotto is rice, so it is the starch, and it doesn't go really with pasta.
But I don't...
Honey, order a side of spaghetti, that's all. And I'll eat your meatballs.
Yeah, he'll have the meatballs.
Ratatouille, a great movie. I love those movies, I really do, because food is so expressive.
Yeah.
It tells so much about people. And we can all relate to food. My two children, they're both in business with me, as you said. But that's not how I thought or I saw it, When they were young, of course, they were around the restaurant. They would come with my mother. They would do their homework. Then they would have dinner. Then go back home and sleep with my mother. But as they grew up to be teenagers, a restaurant is a fun place. You drink, you smoke, you know. And so I was always afraid that they would get this kind of, just slip into position. Yeah. And so I used to tell them, no. Grandma sacrificed really bringing us here, whatever. You need to get educated, and you need to find a real American job. So what does that mean? They were good. They went on, Joe got his master's business, Wall Street. My daughter ultimately...
It's a doctorate in art history, right?
Exactly, from Oxford. My daughter, they both work with me. It was their choice to come back. And I guess they saw, for me, it was a great kind of, initially I was kind of, okay, they want the easy way out here or what? Instead, they really came with a passion, with ideas. They saw an opportunity, I guess, to carry on. Because my daughter was into Italian Renaissance art, so the Italian culture carried on. And Joe now is a bigger hit in Italy than he is in America, so the basis of their Italianismo really stayed with them. And although working in family is not easy.
No, I can imagine it's not.
But it's working out well.
Great. One more question.
Yes.
Has this been translated into Italian?
No, it hasn't. And you know why, Anthony? I think it eventually, we'll work on that. But a lot of people ask me, now I do Italian, the Children Master Chef or whatever. I have a cooking shows here. Why don't you do a cooking show in Italy? And then I never find it into myself for me to go back and teach the Italians how to cook. I learned there. So how can I teach them?
Lidia, many thanks.
Thank you for being here.
Finally, this is our last episode of 2018. That said, on behalf of everyone associated with Italics here at CUNY TV and at the Calandra Institute, I want to wish you all happy holidays and a prosperous 2019. Thanks for watching this episode of Italics. I'm Anthony Tamburri. Arrivederci a gennaio 2019.